Here is the last 24 hours on Palestine, brought to you by Dropsite News. Israel bombed the only children's hospital still functioning in Gaza. Multiple strikes hit Arantisi's Children's Hospital Tuesday night, according to the Ministry of Health. The hospital's upper floors were targeted 3 times, several minutes apart. The hospital has 80 patients receiving treatments, in addition to 4 pediatric intensive care units and 8 neonatal intensive care units. As a result of the bombing, 40 patients left the hospital, while 40 more patients and their companions remained, along with 30 hospital staff. Gaza's Ministry of Health reports that at least 98 Palestinians were killed in the past 24 hours, 7 were killed while they were seeking aid, and 4 more deaths were recorded due to starvation and malnutrition. This takes the official death count in Gaza to over 65,000. This comes as over the past 2 days, the Israeli Air Force and artillery units have struck Gaza City over 150 times. The Israeli military also reported detonating several explosive-laden remote-controlled armored personnel carriers in Gaza City. Decommissioned American-built M113 armored personnel carriers have been repurposed, fit with explosives and remote controls, driven to neighborhoods in Gaza City and detonated. Dropsite's Jeremy Scahill discusses recent Gaza footage showing child after child being pulled from the rubble, describing Israel's killing as deliberate rather than random. He invokes a doctrine identified by Noam Chomsky decades ago, where an aggressor seeks to prove it doesn't actually have any limits. Scahill called the strategy a sick form of deterrence aimed not at an armed faction but against the existence of a people. Gaza officials dispute Israel's claims that 350,000 people have fled Gaza City and the north, saying about 190,000 were actually displaced, 15,000 of whom have actually since returned due to lack of basic necessities down south. They report that the Al-Mawasi safe zone in the south holds 800,000 people under repeated airstrikes with no hospitals or clean water. They accuse Israel, the US and allies of forcing 1.7 million people into 12% of the territory, calling it a plan to empty Gaza City and the north and demand urgent UN action to protect civilians. UN Commissioner Chris Sidoti criticized Israel's response to the Commissioner's report on Gaza, saying,
"Honestly, the Israeli responses are becoming so boring. You know, they say the same thing every time. They're producing the responses by ChatGPT these days. And they spend so much money in the Foreign Ministry on propaganda, you'd think that they would actually come up with something original. I would want them to engage with the evidence, but they never engage with the evidence."
Dropsite Sharif Abdul Quddus says Gulf leaders are in panic after Israel's strike on Doha, realizing that even decades of sycophantic support for Washington and normalization with Israel offers no protection. Comparing Israel to a serial killer in the neighborhood, he said their complicity in Gaza's siege has yielded only humiliation as Palestinians face what he calls the ultimate ethnic cleansing plan. 5 American families traveled to Washington this week to demand accountability for loved ones killed or detained by Israeli forces and settlers.